Lexet is an artist on Webtoons responsible for the comic Jeff's Disorders, a Jeff the Killer comic discussing a more sexual and romantic relationship between the characters Jeff and the equivalent of a generic Your Name Here character in place of a female. Lexet has released 52 episodes of this series so far, however, the webcomic is not the focus of this video. The primary focus of this video is to discuss Lexet's Discord, in which several indecent actions have been seen to occur with minors in the server. More recently, a YouTuber known by the name of Prismmate Luke discussed this drama and very poorly represented the story, so I'm here to set the record straight with 100% evidence that verifies without a shred of doubt that Lexet lied, including her own admission of doing so. Just to be 100% clear here, these are still allegations. I am discussing this situation with evidence that I believe could prove claims. I'm not saying that Lexet is guilty of everything, I'm not even labeling Lexet guilty, but a lot of this evidence is conclusive and is as close as we can get to proving Lexet guilty. Lexet also threatened to sue me for making this video and discussing her apology, so that really speaks volumes. But before we begin, if you are new to this channel or haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so. I put in a lot of work to make sure the content I deliver is both entertaining and well researched, so I can provide videos that provide you all you need to know in a situation. I just hit 10,000 subscribers, almost 11,000 as of recording this, which is incredible, so thank you. And I'm aiming to hit 25,000 subscribers by the end of the year. With your help, I can 100% do it, so make sure to subscribe and follow my Twitter. Without further ado, let's get into the topic of this video. Lexet's Discord was a place for her patrons and general audience to discuss with Lexet, discuss comics, and overall have some fun. This Discord included a very large audience of minors. More recently, an unnamed victim came to me before speaking to Prismmate Luke to discuss allegations they wanted to make public about Lexet, including claims that Lexet had sent porn to minors, sent indecent messages to minors, was allowing kids in her server, and was providing roles to the server with severely indecent jokes and meanings. These allegations initially did not have substantial evidence to hold weight under scrutiny. Then a document was released by these said victims, which included more evidence to support these claims and allegations. However, even with this document, there was too much grey area in the responsibility of Lexet that Lexet could not at the time have been found guilty. That's when me and Just Stop took a deeper dive into this situation. I called Just Stop right after Luke made his first video to help me look over the evidence and come to a smart conclusion as to what I should do about said evidence. Me and Braxton both agreed that Luke's first video severely lacked the evidence to make necessary claims, as I said to the victim when they first came to me. So me and Braxton went digging. We spoke to Lexet, and when talking to Lexet, we saw a lot of contradictory evidence and heard a lot of testimonies from Lexet as to the full context of the situation, including that indecent messages were sent through a text-to-speech bot, meaning they were jokes between people in a VC, and although the jokes were gross, they most definitely were not worth cancelling someone over. We also at the time received evidence from Lexet that showed the artwork couldn't possibly have been created at the time it was claimed to have been sent, because in her drawing software it showed a later date. This evidence, however, would come back to bite Lexet in the arse. Me and Braxton at the time kept digging and came to a smart conclusion that would allow us to make a more informed and conclusive judgment towards the responsibility of Lexet. You see, the artwork shared was also shared on Lexet's Patreon, claimed to be posted on the 8th, a few days after it was claimed to have been sent in her server in a chat which included minors. However, the evidence shown to me by Lexet proved at the time it either had to have been made after it was shared in the server, meaning the screenshots shown were faked, or that Lexet had faked this evidence she sent to me. Me and Braxton decided to go digging, and I got in contact with someone who had recently become a patron of Lexet, and when speaking to them, we realized they could access the comments on Lexet's post. And when asked to do so, they noticed the comments pointed out in the document had been deleted from Lexet's Patreon, meaning either she or the commenter was deleting these, potentially to hide the evidence. This put scrutiny on Lexet's actions. I then decided to get this Patreon subscriber to contact many of the people who commented on Lexet's Patreon post and get them in contact with Braxton so that they could go through the emails and show without a doubt when Lexet made the initial Patreon post, because it was claimed Lexet had altered another post to replace it to cover her back, but that couldn't at the time have been proven. When one of these patrons responded, we guaranteed it. Lexet had posted this Patreon days earlier, back in November, way before any of Luke's evidence claimed, and had now faked other evidence to cover her own back. This conclusive evidence only came about because of me and Braxton's research. So now all we had to do was call Lexet out. But at this same time, because I put scrutiny on Luke's actions, questioned his evidence, and told him I intended to criticize him in a video of my own, because he refused to listen to the criticism in private, Luke decided to derail the whole situation and go after me, letting a de facto alleged child sexter go free, when even the document made the call out said alleged predator, switched its focus along with all the accounts like the art bond covering the situation to me. Lexet was allowed to escape almost all criticism and got away practically scot-free. Even Lexet herself said to me that she felt responsible for the harassment that I got sent for arguably no reason when Luke made a hateful video over a critical video on me. This stopped me as well from making my video, which at the time had evidence that could provide a lot more context and proof against Lexet that could potentially prove her guilty. So at the time I took the focus off of it. However, that doesn't mean I'll let Lexet's actions go ignored for any longer. I have to discuss this because I recognize the significance of the claims made against Lexet. I also want to prove without a doubt that Luke lied about me when he claimed that I was defending Lexet because I critiqued his coverage of the situation. Because Prismate Luke is incapable of taking any criticism. I was just being neutral, as all good commentary creators do. Luke wouldn't know that because he's not a good commentary creator. Okay, maybe that was a little harsh, but you know what I mean. So I asked Braxton to just hop on the video quickly and explain his experience, and yeah, I'll let him speak for himself.
Hello there, I'm Just Stop. You may have already known that before, but Harley has brought me on to sort of bring my own story to the table about my experiences with Lexet. I suppose I'll just give a brief overview and say what I already did in my Person Made Luke video, which you should probably check out. I originally got involved in the situation after Harley brought Lexet up to me and asked if I would like to speak with them to try and corroborate evidence to see if she was guilty and or innocent. I decided to do it to try and be fair since Luke had not gotten her side, and at the time she gave evidence that me and Harley thought was pretty substantial. I brought it to Luke and he kind of brushed me off and said that there was more evidence to come. To his credit, the dog maker did eventually disprove some of the claims that we thought were substantial, but they never really got rid of everything, and so we wanted to try and talk to Luke to maybe corroborate evidence with each other and talk it out a little bit more because he kept on making videos about the entire situation. As is possibly known at this point, he refused, but the doc, while not proving 100% that Lexet had done certain things, did include some evidence which we thought should at least be brought up to her and ask her if she can disprove them, and we never got a response from her. The half-hearted evidence they gave us were comments under a post Lexet had showed us to try and show that the screenshot couldn't be possible because she had posted the art a week later, but we later found out that was untrue. But at the time, we could not nearly be sure of that statement, and the only proof that the doc had at the time were comments which didn't seem to match up with the actual post. They said that there was a specific post that it was originally, which it was changed from, but they didn't have the original image, so we couldn't really completely trust them, so we decided to do our own research. Harley was able to get in contact with one of Lexet's old patrons, and because she was still subscribed to her at the time, we were able to look at all of the comments under that post, and with the names that we were given, we decided to look at other social media platforms to see if they had the same name and maybe get in contact with them to try and get a testimony. Since Patreon sends emails whenever a post is created, we would be able to see the original image if the original email was found, and luckily enough for us, we found a person that had it for not only the image that was changed, but also the original image to give us irrefutable evidence that not only was the image changed, but it was also entirely possible she could have posted it in the Discord server, and by the way that she covered it up, it seems like it's almost certain. I say almost completely certain because the image could definitely still be inspect elemented, but considering Lexet trying to cover up the entire situation so heavily and lying to us multiple times, it's very possible. So that was my basic experience with Lexet. In the beginning, I thought there was some validity to her statements, and so I waited for Luke and the doc maker to respond. When they did respond, I was not satisfied because they gave so little evidence in some areas and just seemed to be lacking entire pieces that were necessary for their story to be corroborated. In that case, I decided to do my own research with Harley, and we were able to find exactly what we needed to prove that Lexet was guilty. When Harley and I even brought up the possibility that some of her screenshots may have been wrong with the small amount of evidence that the doc had, she just decided not to respond to us. I could go on about Luke and how I thought he handled the entire situation, but that's in a video on my channel which you should probably try and check out. In the end, that is my basic experience with Lexet. Thanks for bringing me on, Harley. Check out my channel. Goodbye.
Recently, I was contacted once again by Lexet. This message from Lexet read the following, and I'm paraphrasing, but the full DM will be on screen. I'm sorry for taking this long to respond. I wanted to clear the air and apologize for a few things. Firstly, I should have never faked the Patreon evidence for that screenshot. I was afraid people were gonna think I preyed on someone I called a friend. I panicked before you and Braxton found the inconsistencies in the screenshot, and by then, the damage damage was already done. I'm very sorry I put you in this position and that I didn't delete the video on my Instagram the moment you asked me to. I know that Luke has gone around attacking you in a video, which I feel partially responsible for. I'm very sorry you had to go through that, and that I was making things worse when you made an effort to defend me. This message, without a doubt, guarantees Lexet faked the evidence to defend her case. I'd call that case closed. Or so I had thought. Recently I spoke to Lexet to get her consent to use the apology and some of her artwork, in which I received said consent until she found out I had more evidence to levy against her, which could show her to be way more guilty than any of the evidence Luke had, at which moment she threatened to sue me if I used her apology or artwork. I then posed the question to Lexet: did you send porn to minors? Will you admit it to prove you've changed, or are you still the same person they've accused you of being? But wait, because there's something I haven't mentioned to you, something that I've been keeping under wraps because I knew that Luke would ever twist it or something else would go wrong if I wasn't to put it in this video in the way that I have done. So, there is a piece of evidence I would like to discuss against Lexet, which proves her guilty without a doubt, 100%, this is guaranteed, for sending porn to minors. And that is because when me and Braxton were talking to Lexet, Lexet sent me and Braxton her pornographic artwork fully uncensored for us to see on 2 different accounts. She only deleted one of those accounts. So without a doubt, Lexet sent porn to me and Braxton. The censorship you're seeing is from me. It was not there before. I guarantee that without doubt. So Lexet has sent porn to minors. That is guaranteed. And with that, I'll let the outro roll. And that's where I'll leave this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. I intend to post more frequently on this channel, and I hope that Lexet responds and listens to some of the claims I've made. Lexet knows I'm not doing this as an attack, or I hope they know that. I'm just saying this because it's important to make these allegations clear, because Lexet, in my mind, needs to be called out for this behavior, because there is so much evidence and so much circumstantial evidence that I believe it couldn't go ignored. But yeah, I ideally intend to post daily from now on, so if you have enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos like this one on various different topics, but covered in a way that actually proves the claims I'm making, unlike certain YouTubers, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and I'll see you next time. Peace, dudes.
Says she wanna rock with it like me. I'm a stylish guy. Spend a little guap with it like me. We can catch a fly. Says she wanna rock with it like me.